HistoryShift presents Richat vs. Atlantis. Narration by Russ Allen from Brothers of the Serpent Podcast. Atlantis found? The truth behind the Richat Structure. Welcome to HistoryShift. This is our first production, so please be kind. All sources will be posted at the end. Please subscribe and follow us on Twitter as well as Instagram at HistoryShift. In this presentation, we will focus mainly on the size of the city, based on Plato and no other works. In our opinion, Plato is the only source for Atlantis. We shall attempt to prove that the Richat structure is not Atlantis, based on Plato's work only, and the dimensions he gave. We are not out to offend anyone, but rather to direct people towards learning so that they aren't misled by others' claims. We believe in providing as much information to our audiences as possible so that they can come to their own conclusions. Do your own research. We are only humans and we all make mistakes. We are freely open to any and all discussion, so please leave your comments below. Let's get started. Plato's account of Atlantis. The following dimensions come directly from Plato's conversational dialogues of Timaeus and Critias. We will be focusing on the juxtaposition between the dimensions given by Plato and the size of the Richat structure. Some have implied that this could be the lost city of Atlantis, people who are intelligent but didn't do the research before presenting. We intend to fill in the blanks intentionally left out. So, what does Plato tell us of the fabled city's design? Plato speaks of an island nation, and in the center of it was the city of Atlantis. It was made of concentric rings, 3 of water, and 2 of land, with a center island in the middle. Generally speaking, the Richat structure looks right. It has 2 concentric rings, with what appears to be a center outcrop. When they say size isn't everything, well, this time it is. So let's start with Plato's account. This will be the passage we focus on today. Now the largest of the zones into which a passage was cut from the sea was 3 stadia in breadth, and the zone of land which came next of equal breadth. But the next 2 zones, the one of water, the other of land, were 2 stadia, and the one which surrounded the central island was a stadium only in width. The island in which the palace was situated had a diameter of 5 stadia. All this including the zones and the bridge, which was the 6th part of a stadium in width. So, what is a stadia? The term stadia comes from the plural of the Greek stadion, the word for a distance of 185 to 192 meters, or 607 to 630 feet. A very similar length is the modern furlong, or 1/8 of a mile, at 660 feet. It is very important when interpreting Plato to understand just how long a stadia, or a furlong, is. When taking Plato literally, this is paramount. A stadia or furlong was a unit of measure used by the ancient Greeks. In passing, we might ask, what unit of measurement was given to Solon, and how did he convert it? Most accounts give an estimate of 607 to 630 feet per stadia, the highest being 660 feet per stadia. This highest number will be the number we use in our calculations to give a wide berth. It starts in the center. So, let's start in the center island. The size given is 5 stadia in diameter, plus 1 stadia for zones and bridges, giving us a total of 6 stadia in diameter. Math time. 6 stadia times 660 feet equals 3,960 feet in diameter. The Richat's center structure alone is over 3 miles in diameter. Are you starting to see the problem? So let's compare. Given rough measurements, the center of the Richat structure is more than 3.5 miles in diameter, versus Plato's own words about Atlantis, 6 stadia wide, or 3,960 feet across. Now let's look at rough measurements of the water channels for the Richat structure. The inner ring is 0.66 miles, second ring 1.5 miles, third ring 3 miles. Next, we can measure the concentric rings that Plato describes for Atlantis. Rings of water. First ring, 1 stadia. Second ring, 2 stadia. Third ring, 3 stadia. Rings of land. First ring, 2 stadia. Second ring, 3 stadia. Center island, 6 stadia. Added up, we get a total of 11 stadia for the rings, or 11 times 660 feet, which equals 7,260 feet, or 1.38 miles. Now this only gives you the radius. To get the diameter, we double that 11 stadia for the rings, plus 6 for the center island, to get a total of 28 stadia in diameter. So how big is the Richat structure versus Plato's Atlantis? The main outer ring of the Richat structure is at least 20 miles across. Total measurements for Atlantis based on Plato, 6 stadia for center island, 11 total stadia for the 2 rings of land and the 3 rings of water. This only equals the radius, so we double that 11 stadia to get a diameter, which equals 22 in total. Altogether, that's a total of 28 stadia, or 18,480 feet. When we divide this by 5,280 feet to get miles, we get a total of 3.5 miles of total diameter of Atlantis. See the discrepancy? Hopefully, this has been presented in a way that makes sense to everyone. Look for the next video. We will be discussing further research and measurements that counter the Richat as Atlantis, such as tectonic plates, elevation, formation, and much more. Also coming, Hiawatha Crater Jump. Do we believe that this area should be properly excavated? Of course. We should all be for continuing our education into the past. It is certainly an area that has long been used as an oasis and possibly much more. No more wild speculation, folks. We need facts. It is fun to get excited about something like this. It's human nature. But we must be responsible and acknowledge new information. Thank you so much for your time. History is shifting and we are along for the ride. Make sure to subscribe to this channel for recent videos by HistoryShift and many others who follow the path to truth, and find us on Instagram and Twitter at HistoryShift.